Joining us right now on the case, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor. Did you work in the Manhattan DA's office?
I didn't work in the Manhattan DA's office, but I'm there pretty much every day now. So
there you go. Peter Frankel, in case you need him. Alvin Bragg, pretty much swimming through untested legal waters right now. Why?
So you have to start by understanding that crucial to our democracy is the integrity, maintaining the integrity of the criminal justice system, right? And what's going on now, I think, should concern everyone. Whether you are a fan of Donald Trump's or not a fan of Donald Trump's, you know, this may not resonate with you and I right now or with your viewers right now, but the fact of the matter is it could tomorrow, it could next week.
Because?
Because, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Well, because there's the old adage, what, you can indict a ham sandwich?
Well, that's true. And when you look at what's going on here in this particular situation, it's unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this before. And if you're going to have an honest conversation about what's going on now, you have to ask yourself, is this a political prosecution? Is this a weaponizing of the criminal justice system? And I say that because this is an allegation from 7 years ago. The Department of Justice looked at it, they passed on it. Yeah. The Federal Election Commission looked at it, they passed on it. Cyrus Vance, Mr. Bragg's predecessor, looked at it and passed on it. You have the key...
Alvin Bragg.
Well, Alvin Bragg campaigned on how he's sued the Trump organization over 100 times and how he's going to seek justice. But the question that nobody seems to answer for me is, why now? Yeah. Why now? Why is this happening now? His key witness is a convicted felon, a habitual liar with zero credibility, who is already on record saying that what he's claiming happened now never happened. So again, why is this happening now?
Why do you think it's happening now?
Well, unfortunately, my view is that, this is a political prosecution, that this is a pile-on. I think we're likely to see charges brought by the feds for conduct relating to classified documents. I think we're likely to see charges brought in Georgia for election interference. And I think, as we've seen before with January 6th, with the Russian collusion, with impeachment, this is going to be a pile on Donald Trump to keep him in the news in a very negative way.
So if the feds indict him on the classified documents, would Alvin Bragg step back and say, okay, listen, I don't want to muddy the waters here, you guys take him?
No, I don't think so. I think if he truly believes and is representing that he believes in this prosecution, he's going to maintain it. He's going to go forward with it. There'll be parallel prosecutions. The feds will go forward with their charges. He'll go forward with his. Where this is going to end up on a state level, I don't know, because we've never seen anything like this before. I don't think a judge is going to dismiss it. I think it could go to trial.
So, Peter, briefly give us an idea of what could happen today in the grand jury room.
So, the grand jury is winding down. They heard from Bob Costello. They heard from Kellyanne Conlon. Both of those witnesses, Conway, both those witnesses were favorable to Donald Trump. I think, to the extent that the prosecution feels that they need to address some of the testimony that was given by either of those two witnesses, they're going to call a witness, and then as a rebuttal witness, and then it's likely that they'll vote out the case.
And who could that possibly be, this new witness being brought in?
So I think it's likely to be somebody who can corroborate some of the things that Michael Cohen said that were refuted by Conway and Costello, that can be an independent witness that will help establish the truth of what they're alleging Michael Cohen had to say. So I think after that, it's likely that there'll be a vote, could come as early as this afternoon, and then we could see an indictment and an arraignment next week.
Wow. But what about having this jury here in New York? I just feel like it's just not favorable for Donald Trump to begin with. Is that something that maybe you would say this could have happened somewhere else, maybe more on some neutral grounds?
So it's a great question, and here's the answer. I've been doing this for a very long time on both sides. I have tremendous faith in jurors. I think that New York jurors are very intelligent. I think they take their job extremely seriously. And I have every reason to believe that whether they're Trump supporters or not, that they will listen to the evidence, they will evaluate the witnesses, they'll consider the law, and I believe they'll do the right thing. I really believe that. If I didn't believe that, I'd get out of this business because, honestly, you know, I have enough experience with New York juries to understand that they take their jobs very seriously.
Well, we hope so. So let me ask you something. You always have your finger on the pulse. What's the temperature down in Lower Manhattan with the court officers, with some of the prosecutors in the Manhattan DEA's office? Are they happy about what's going on right now?
I mean, Ro, it's a great question. You know, I'm in that building pretty much every day for the last 30 years. Law enforcement, court officers, clerks tend to be conservative. I think that there is a big split with respect to how they feel about what's going on right now. I think a lot of them are unhappy about it, think it's a complete waste of time, think it's a show trial, and don't really want to be involved in it. I've spoken to plenty of prosecutors as well in that office that, you know, really are not very enthusiastic about what is going on. So.
Peter Frankel.
Yeah.
We will hope the city gets through this.
Well, are we not polarized enough? Seriously, as a country, as a city, like, do we have to go through this? Is this necessary?
I don't know. I don't know. But apparently there's not enough crime for Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg to be focused on. So.
Well, I mean, you're trying to put me out of business.
I know. How have things been for you, Peter Frankel, with your clients? Great?
Busy. Crazy.
Yeah,
but they're all out, right? Are they all out of jail?
Mine are, of course. Yeah.
Nice, Peter Frankel.
Gosh,
if you need an attorney, Peter Frankel's available
I'm
for
here.
you. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on.
Hey,